It's Monday. Is it Monday? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's Monday. So sick of this racist crap. This racist crap. This racist crap. I'm happy where I am, where everybody's miserable. I know how to do radio, 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 radio. So sick of this racist crap. This racist crap. This racist crap. So sick of this racist crap. This racist crap. This racist crap.
There. Sorry. I did say it was possible I would do a morning show to make up for the one I missed yesterday. In part due to a headache that I was suffering at the time. I'm not suffering it now. But also because both Rumble and X were being hit by a cyber attack. And that's why I was gonna go ahead and do this, where I was going to draw Opie, and I'm going to draw Opie now. But all the problems were happening. I couldn't get started. I was like, is it me? Am I doing? I did this, did that. Then noticed, yes, Twitter was out too. And looked it up. It didn't say. I looked up the sites that'll tell you if there's actual problems at the moment. And it said, yeah, Twitter's down, or X is down rather now. And but not the same with Rumble. But no, Rumble was getting attacked as well, and so the Rumble Studio didn't work. Could have gone elsewhere to stream and all that, but again, the headache was pounding harder and harder, and I was like, no, can't do it. Ended up doing a show earlier in the night. For Nailsin News Live. But again, not doing so great, but I'm feeling a lot better now. So amazing how that happens. So I'm going to go ahead and do this Opie drawing and talk about, Opie, of course, but Anthony, since I did get to listen to his first show for WABC. So, as instructed, I did go and download the app. You have to put the on app. 77 WABC. So I recommend you do that should you be interested. And you should, because I've heard it often said, and I find myself often agreeing with the sentiment because it's often true, that Anthony Cumia could read the back of a box of breakfast cereal, and it would be really cool and interesting listening to him do it. And that's just the way it is. Of course, he had quite a few interesting stories, news items, and that sort of thing. It was, for all intents and purposes, what it was called, the Anthony Cumia Show. Just some choice terms, and maybe even subject matter, but it got kind of close to some. Um, and that sort of thing. But ultimately, yeah, it's Anthony weighing in on things for 2 hours. And of course, I couldn't listen to it live because I had to be unconscious so as to be able to remain conscious while at work overnight. So his, evening Sunday show had already come and gone before I rose from my coffin to prowl the night, which is my job. And so had the app and checked it out, and was hoping, because a lot of these radio, and this has been, for a long time now, do have podcast versions of their shows. And lo and behold, yes, there is a podcast of Anthony's show. And I assume that'll be the case going forward. So even if you miss it live, which, um, it'd be cool to call in and stuff, but you can only do that live. But anyway, caught it, and there it was. And it was a good show. Of course, he was, the subject matter of him coming back. He went over all that, and then got into quite a few stories and whatnot. And just the flow and ability to narrate stories. He's always been very good at that. And it can go off into anything. Of course, movie references and TV show references, because essentially you got to understand, Anthony was raised by television. His parents did the job the best they could, and all that stuff. But and truth be told, I was raised by television as well. It was a great babysitter and stuff like that. A lot of times it would just so dominate your attention and mindset and all that. So, of course, with Cumia, quite a few references of that nature are going to come forward. And such was the case in his inaugural show on his comeback to terrestrial radio. And also in keeping a lot of the elements one can come to expect from Mr. Cumia was all there. But one of the things that's interesting that doesn't get a lot of commentary, at least that I've noticed, is sometimes, boy, you really learn stuff on Anthony's show. Anthony has an interest in the scientific elements and whatnot, and delves into that. A lot of times, stories about the Apollo program, and of course, history about World War II and whatnot, and all that stuff. But science it came in to the conversation that, and it was a conversation. I mean, sure, he was talking to himself for the most part, but he was talking to the audience. So that means you. Yeah, yeah. And he was talking about, got on the subject matter of jacuzzis. This came out of spring break, and there was a story concerning that and all that. And was reminiscing about, an old tale he had heard from people who worked in a certain establishment. Apparently, I believe, now my memory may be failing me already, but, it happens. But he said the place was called Plato's Retreat. Yes, yes. And apparently, a lot of men of a certain persuasion would go there and just, really work one another out a lot. And the jacuzzi would be, uh, you know, full of evidence of their presence. And some of the staff, would have to clean these facilities. And liking the findings of, well, like, egg drop soup and kind of gelatinous uh, bits, if you will, within it. And this results in all kinds of bacteria and whatnot. And oh boy, that could be harmful and everything. But the interesting part about it was, he said, good Lord, it was almost as if, a new bacterial life form had had come into being and had evolved almost there. And it struck me as like, wow, what an interesting thing, because this is essentially saying this might have been one of the rare occasions where, uh, well, I can say, homosexuals uh, actually produced offspring in their amorous activities, you know? And so you see, you get insights like that you really don't get anywhere else. So, what an amazing thing that apparently occurred some time ago at Plato's Retreat. Yes. And so, you know, you really got to check out Anthony Cumia's show, because that's cool. Of course, you can always check him out over at compoundcensored.tv. Yeah. Compound Media was merged into censored.tv, which was Gavin's outfit. Gavin, of course, had once had the McGinnis show on Compound back in the glory days. It was a great show. And, well, long winded story, ended up at his own platform. And so now Anthony's there with his show. And so if you already had a Compound, by now you know all this. If you had a Compound subscription, it folded into it. So either URLs will get you there and all that. But you can catch Anthony there, completely uncensored there. So you know. So look out, but for a more tamer and mature and sensible, perhaps more careful, um, Anthony would be at WABC, New York. So the interesting thing about it is, it's like, hey, it's a new era. The reign of woke seems to have fallen. Not that it won't rear its ugly head in some other form, which is always the case. But holy crap, man, was this a really bizarre, you know, weird Alice in Wonderland meets George Orwell thing that went through and are going to be living with the ramifications for quite some time. But nevertheless, it happened, and now one of the aspects of it was cancel culture. So to see the likes of Anthony Cumia, who was fired really much early on before this whole weird, uh, era came about, but it's a lot of the same type thing. And the interesting thing about it is you would get people fired for things they said, and usually it was on the air, you know, and there would be protests and campaigns to, harass the advertisers and that sort of thing. But in Anthony's case, he was not at work. He was attacked at Times Square by some unhinged woman, and he went on a rant about it on his Twitter. Didn't use epithets. The woman was of African descent, and she slapped him in the face and all that sort of stuff. And I guess you have to conclude that Anthony got fired because he forgot to say thank you for the assault. Um, but obviously, it was people at SiriusXM did not like him and decided here was an opportunity to say, "Oh boy, we can't be associated with a guy being upset about being hit in the face." So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but it happened, and thus the end of the Opie and Anthony show commenced. And what to do? He started his own thing, his podcast network, which ran for 10 years. And, and there's a lot of reasons why you could argue why it's kind of surprising it did that long and stuff like that. There's a variety of reasons. That's a whole other story. But for Anthony, his show continues. It's just as good as it always was. And he's over at Gavin's network. And now this radio thing happened, which probably even, I don't even know if you would go a year. I don't know when someone called him up and, reached out to him to see if he'd be interested in doing this. But I have to assume that not long ago, he would have thought if someone said, "Hey, you think you'd ever do radio again?" And he would probably say, "Yep, I don't think so. I don't think I'd be allowed." You know? Oh, hang on. I'm sorry. Apologies. Well, I really need to have a quick video to please stand by or something like that. Now I'm all off track. Damn it. That he was, probably never going to be back on the radio anymore, and all of that. Now, there's something to be said about the way radio operates. That in a lot of ways, well, can't you just recreate that in your show? And essentially, Ant and his personality and whatnot, of course, that does come through on his show. But it's a different, I don't know. It's a different medium, and and it's just the aspect of the commercials and whatnot, and that does color, if you will, the approach to that form of communication with the host and his audience, and so on. And obviously, it's something he knew very well. It's what he cut his teeth on. How else do you put it? Well, he did spend a lot of fortune on his magnificent choppers now, and so it was all worth it. But nevertheless, how he honed his skills those years working in that industry, and certainly helped him form his podcast show. But it was always in that environment where he did learn all that, and for a chance to do it again, um, per the circumstances that would be to his liking, I'm sure. Um, of course, he would. It doesn't surprise me at all that he would accept it. It just surprises me that anybody was going to give him the chance. Now, in a logical sense, and even in a business one, in a sane business matter, of course you want to get a talent like Anthony a part of your station if you can swing that, you know. But under the idiot rules of insanity, and it's like, oh, you're a hot potato and all that, and well, good luck. Um, Success comes with risk. You understand, and but it's also very interesting in it. Like I said before, there would be like protesters and stuff, and even that I would argue, we're pulling a parlor trick over these companies and whatnot, and they just decide it's too much of a headache. Get him out of here, that sort of thing. Uh, but like for Anthony, there was none of that. It was done, gone. I mean, it'd be one thing if they said nothing, and then people were saying, "Hey, did you see what this guy said?" Something of that nature, and tried to get a drum beat going to take him down, uh, which I doubt would have occurred under those circumstances. Um, in the woke era, probably so. I mean, that's another thing. Would have been interesting to see how long could an Anthony and Opie. Whoops, got it in the wrong order. Opie and Anthony show could have continued under those conditions, notwithstanding the problems between Anthony and Greg Opie Hughes, so on and so forth. But just the era that as it was, and their brand of comedy, uh, I don't know, and I guess we'll never know now. That's, what happened. So, um, but it was just a cool thing, an actual a radio station, and there's Anthony just going right back to it and doing a show. You know. So meanwhile, the other half of that marriage that was Greg Opie Hughes, uh, which of the two, I would have thought that Opie would be the one pursuing a radio job, uh, just for the sake of doing it. Of course, Opie started out in radio before Anthony did, and was doing it, doing a show and all that, and then Anthony, of course, with him and his brother doing their band Rotgut, did the funny O.J. Simpson parody song. This got Opie's attention, brought them in, and saw potential with Anthony, and the rest is history. One thing led to another, uh, and they formed the show. Um, but that thing of that Opie was, a long time looking to get into radio in some form or fashion, and so I would have thought that some deal like this. Now he claims that he was offered a deal. I think it was a WABC, and he that there wasn't enough money offered, and so all of that. But it's kind of like, but it's an opportunity, and based on, well, what you bring to the table, what skill, what entertainment value you could. Oh, you can grow that show. Yeah, and it's kind of a challenge. I mean, with the money they made, I would assume that Opie's got more than enough. But it's like, what are you going to do? Don't you want to do something? I mean, it was a medium that, like I said, he pursued a long time. Yes, achieved it, but I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was kind of odd. Not odd. It's not odd on Anthony's part, but if someone, if what Opie says is is that he was offered a show. Uh, you know, give it a shot, see what happens. At the very least. Um, but no. Um, but he's done other shows, and Opie. It's like what Anthony's doing, where it's just Anthony there, and I'm sure maybe for that show he'll have a guest and stuff like that from time to time. But just Anthony sitting there talking about whatever, um, that doesn't really work. For Opie is going to need a partner of sorts. Now he's done this with comedians and stuff, and that back and forth. But of course, they're not really on the level with Anthony. I maybe because something just clicked between those two, and it worked very well. But when the relationship went sour, that was it. And it's just too bad. But it appears, just by all accounts of what's happened since, that the split was much more detrimental for Opie than Anthony. Um, so I was like, well, what kind of show could he do? I have no idea at this point. You know, and never really had. A lot of people did have problems with him. I remember those days, not long before it was all over, and I didn't really see that much of a problem. Of course, I didn't know what I was talking about. And a lot of times, oh man, it's so obvious they hate each other and all that sort of thing. And I said, oh well, people have arguments and whatnot, and that many years together, it's bound to happen. But it was far more serious than I realized, and of course, you can see it on display uh, every time Opie does a live stream or whatever. And despite all his antics, the otherwise everything just confirms uh, just how mad or hurt or upset about Anthony Cumia he is, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. But there's just certain things that it's just realizing now is just never going to happen for the guy. Uh, that you take a risk, you try this, you try that, and one thing with the success he already had, it shouldn't be you know too fearful of a thing or worrisome, because it was like you try this show and it's really stupid and doesn't work. Oh well, screw that. Try it. But um, he doesn't have that ability. It really gets to him. And in the old days, Anthony and Jimmy would get shit from the audience every now and then, stuff like that. But Opie would really get it a lot. And I think that goes to it's because he let them see them. He let them see him sweat, stuff like that. I don't know how else to put it, and that just kind of eggs them on, and well, the rest is history on that. It's unfortunate, but there it is. So, I guess I will add this to the Doodleverse comics uh, book, and basically, I did see a bit where Opie was talking to his chat, and I'm trying to remember exactly the question. Um, oh well, the thing I'm pondering now is like, why didn't he go ahead and take a chance with radio? And because they've already done that, and it's and it's like he's the wiser man now, I guess. because yeah, he's stuck in the past. He's doing the same old thing and stuff like that. Uh, but it's like, well, yeah. I mean, there is a radio station. They did want him, and he said, sure. It can't be as simple as that, you know. And he likes the medium, and it's fun for him, and there's some money in it, sure, and also the potential uh, of garnering even more to check out uh, his podcast on censored compound censored, you know. So and I think Obi was trying to complain that was a loser strategy or something like that. I I don't know. It's yeah, someone might notice it. I don't know. Um, but you know, whatever. But there again, it's like if nothing really comes of it, and you know, he maintains the audience he already has, and that which it's well, it is an audience, and there you go. What would be the problem? I guess for like Opie, if he had done something similar and it didn't really grow or blow up or anything, would he just quit and be all pissed about it? Probably, you know. Which instead of just, you know, I mean, at this time in your life, just have fun. So, you know, you make fun of him in jokes, but in a lot of ways, it's really sad, and never really going to understand it. But you know, I'm a colossal failure, you know, compared to Opie, and this is true. So maybe I'll never understand. I never got to be at the top of the mountain, you know. See? Did you think of that? Okay, I'll read some chat. And I guess, well, I guess I got time to go ahead and put this in Photoshop and that sort of thing. So, A. Thompson says, Doug, which I assume he's referring to me. That's the only Doug I know that matters. A. Thompson, Doug seems like the type of guy with a really fancy AM FM tuner. Well, it wasn't an AM FM tuner. It was just my phone. It's an amazing thing. They have that now. Who'd have thunk it? Well, I did because I took the time to download the app. 77 WABC. You know, on the Play Store and all that. Kai and friends. Doug is an amplitude modification guy all the way. It should have been that way, shouldn't it? Yeah. Modification. Yeah, Saint amplitude modulation. Yeah. Saint Ranger frequency modulation. Saint Ranger, when I was a freshman in college, 1977, wow, I was 7 years old watching Star Wars in the theater. Anyway, in 1977, I had the first radio broadcasting license that let us work on the school's FM radio station in McMinnville, Oregon. Yeah, that would have been cool. They do have a radio station on the campus where I went to college at McNeese, but it wasn't there when I was a student. And it wasn't long after I graduated they started that, and I can't help but think that was done deliberately to piss me off. I still have the cough, sorry, but I mean, oh, they can have it, but I can't. Anyway, man, that came out of nowhere. Jeez. Kai and friends, Albany, New York. So, is there a petition to change Albany to Opany? It's only appropriate, isn't it? Maybe that could satisfy Opie Hughes. St. Ranger's shortwave aircraft band and ship to shore radio longwave are all on the complete AM band. Well, St. Ranger, I have made hundreds of blueprints and technical drawings, including making diagrams of full circuit boards, but always straight lines and calculated curves, but not freehand. I wouldn't think so, unless you're an android. Then perhaps you could do it without, a ruler and all that. St. Ranger, my drawings were more like connect the dots, following established patterns and forms, like drawing a circle with a guide. So neat to see art created by Doug. Well, you know what, St. Ranger? I do, on occasion, use established circles, templates, and stuff like that. And, of course, the old standby, the ruler. But in the case of just drawing these portraits and whatnot, yeah. I mean, I would probably get a more accurate, at least the top of the head, because let's see, we'll do the test here. Oh, geez. No, that's actually pretty good. Usually, it's still, I can see where it's going off in this direction. It always does that. It's a subconscious thing I do. And one of the tricks is to flip it over and you can kind of correct it. But I didn't bother because I thought, good enough. It's not as good as the original. This is the doodle I did. I think that one's better. Maybe the Anthony's are better. Now I'm thinking, might want to ink this and use it instead of that. And then take the Anthony's. It's funny how that happens. I wasn't even. And this is supposed to be what's his name, Tom Meyer, with Carl Hamburg heads floating around because he's haunted by Carl Hamburg from Who Are These Podcasts. So Opie, of course, is haunted by Anthony phantoms. So anyway, but yeah, back to templates and whatnot. Usually that'll correct that, but to do it like that, to deal with it, even with. See, it's kind of like the face is favoring moving over almost off the head. Yeah. Granted, the shadows and whatnot emphasize it even more, but it's some weird thing. I don't know. That's just the way it goes. But that's one of those tests. Flip it upside down, and then you'll see all your mistakes. St. Ranger, my drawings were more like connected dot. Oh, I already read that. St. Ranger says, thank you, Doug. Well, you're welcome. Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? I wasn't going to do it, but now I'm gonna. I'm thinking, the actual doodle. I know I call it Doodleverse and all that when really these are full-on drawings, but this one was done while at work. Things quiet down after a while. I get visits, but for the most part, most of the work of cleaning this up and that is done. And the rest is essentially babysitting the store. After I've changed its diaper and all that, fed it, and then I put it down for a nap. And then, people walk in and it's like, shh, don't wake the store. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh. Some of them don't care. They come in blaring their phones and stuff and all that. It's like, what are you going to do? And so to pass the time, other people go out and smoke. Me, I draw. Yeah. Doug the Doodler. Holy sketchbook work, Batman! Yes, Robin. It's our old arch enemy, the Doodler. Yeah, see? The Doodler. Not sure what exactly the Doodler would do. I guess, draw caricatures of people is like, Ha 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 ha, Batman, look, I've emphasized your gut. And that, that fiend, I'm working hard to get rid of that. But when I lose confidence, it's so difficult not to slip into my habit of eating donuts. Can Batman resist the urge to chow down on a donut? Same bat time, same fat channel. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, that's how that would go. Damn it, I screwed that up. But don't worry, Photoshop can solve that too. Photoshop. 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 Baby, baby, Photoshop. Anyway, Opie did one of these live streams and was hatless, which is rare. And the hair was just sort of everywhere, you know. All right. Yeah, I think that'll work. I think that'll work. Oh, yeah. So, did find time to do a Nailsin ratings video on Daredevil's ratings. And they're not good. It's like not a lot of people showed up. So the troubling thing about that is not so much the quality or lack thereof of the Daredevil show. The problem is no one gave it a chance in the first place, which is more indicative of the overall MCU brand, which at one time seemed unstoppable. And it was until it stopped itself, you know. And once you poop the bed on too many movies and pretty much all the shows, I mean, there's a handful. There's only like one or two in there that actually had some effort to them, but two of them, at least one of them, is the one no one watched at all. So once you've damaged your overall brand, it is very difficult to come back. And so that even when you do a good show or film, um, people aren't willing to give it a shot because it's like, nah, man, you done fooled me one time too many. And that's the attitude. Uh, so it's like, even when you have a good one, even if it's only 2 episodes of the show, but if it's really great, it still won't be enough. It's like Marvel's back because of Deadpool and Wolverine. No, Deadpool and Wolverine, were the big winners, and that's it. The MCU and the next movie was that Captain America Brave New World movie, and it bombed. Even though, despite all its problems of being a really stupid movie, not as bad as their previous efforts. Marvels, Thor: Love and Thunder, and Eternals, and crap like that. And then the DP shows were just DP shows. So there was a lot of crap to shovel through. So when you get to something that's, we tried, it's not going to be good enough. Now, the Thunderbolts movie that's coming up next, that actually might be okay. But again, I'm extremely dubious the audience is going to show up because nobody knows what that is. Fantastic Four is their last best hope, but it's so far afield from the original story and whatnot, and a bit of a mess in trying to explain where they are and how to fit them into their overall shared universe and all that, needlessly complicating that. And once that happens, that also does damage, besides all the, woke antics and whatnot. So that's where it is, yeah. Saint Ranger, your sketches feel 3D. Excellent line usage. When my dad did sheet metal pattern development, he often spoke of the language of lines. It is a language. It is communicating and conveying the image to you. Plus the anguished emotion in Opie's face there. he's just in agony, you know. The language of lies, when trying to explain making technical blueprints, you're an expert. Well, I've never done technical blueprints. My younger brother did. He's a draftsman. Funny how that works out, you know. But yes, what is art? Well, it's a form of communication. A lot of times for things that, well, you can't even say language can't communicate, but, you know, the zeitgeist of things can come through imagery and music, but also words. You know, a whole novel, well, it's a collection of letters and sentences and words and all that, but it's conveying an overall, well, truth that the author is trying to get to and probably thinks he has and whatnot, and everyone can see it differently from a different story, depending on how good it is and whatnot. But there you are, and poetry and all that, same thing. So here you have Opie agonizing over his obsession with his former partner. And then over there you have Tom Meyer obsessing over this podcaster who laughs at his attempts at making a show. And again, making the same mistake that Oster did. He's letting him know that he lives in his head now. Well, there it is. What are you going to do? So I'm okay. It's too bad. You know, do all these people deserve that type of treatment? Probably not, but it's going to happen. You know, it's like, they can't resist, you know, and ultimately, well, who could? Yeah. All right. Well, here's an oldie but goodie, and hopefully I'll have these drawings entered into Photoshop.
Who killed Buddy the rabbit?
So we've got a dead rabbit, and as the gravedigger's burying it, he notices it's got a broken neck. How'd that happen? One word: homicide.
Why would anyone kill Buddy?
Seems this Buddy the rabbit lived with quite a few people in that house there. First of all, you got Rob Saul.
No, I wouldn't hurt that little bunny. I mean, my daughter loved that rabbit. I wouldn't have anything to do with that.
I don't know what to make of this guy. I mean, right off the bat, I assumed he was gay. Turns out, though, that his alibi was that he was up all night for about 8 hours talking to some Felicia Fierce lady. And yet, he claims he's not in love with her.
Look, just because I talk to her a lot and I want to have sex with her all the time, and I just want to be with her, that's not being in love. Come on, no.
If you can figure this guy out, you're a smarter man than I am. Then there's Ileana.
No, I didn't do it. When that was supposed to happen, I was occupied with a man, because I cannot pleasure myself, you know? I mean, that's what men are for anyway.
Now that's a likely story. But then again, what kind of psychosis is going on where you never pleasure yourself? Yeah, I gotta keep my eye on this one. Finally, we've got Maya. That's got guilty written all over it. The homicide investigation takes hard work and plenty of experience. Luck hardly has anything to do with it. And speaking of luck, look at poor Buddy. He had 4 rabbit feet. And look where that got him. In a hole in the backyard, that's where.
Who killed Buddy? Tonight on Investigation Discovery.
Sometimes I feel fat and unattractive. But then I go shop at Walmart, where the average customer is at least 400 pounds, and I'm nowhere near in that ballpark, so I feel great. Thank you, Walmart.
Yes, Walmart, where you can simply look around and feel better about yourself. Unless, of course, you're a regular.
This is your ass. This is your ass in prison. Any questions? This has been a public service announcement reminding you that if you do the crime, you will do the time. Hard time.
Boy, there's a powerful lesson there somewhere, you know. All right. Here we will deal with the art. The art. You got to put it in there. There you go. What's that doing there? It's already. Don't I turn that on? Yeah, whatever. It's gone now. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. There we are. All right. So this is the one right in front of you. But I'm thinking the original. Oh, no, this is. Good Lord. See, I couldn't tell them apart. This is the one I drew. But I left his eyes in there. I don't think that's accurate. I think he was squinting way more than that. And it just doesn't look. This one just seems to be better. I don't know. It's sketchy. But let me see here. And so I'll change that. I will increase. Yeah, that seems to work. We'll get rid of all this other stuff. Now that we'll go ahead and get rid of. The Anthony goes, don't worry, you'll come back. Don't worry, you'll be all right. There we go. Okay, well, I'm thinking I'll take the shirt from the other drawing and add it to this one. Because I do believe he was wearing a shirt more akin to the second drawing than this one, which seems to suggest like, I don't know, a t-shirt or something. Oh yeah, and this part here where I screwed up. There we go. Don't want to say there's some strange bulge coming out of his neck. No, not that. Not that. No, not that. It's not there. Don't worry. All right. Okay. Yeah. Wisp. 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 There we go. We'll connect that. We'll connect that there. That there. We got a little shaft of hair going here, like that. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, we could add a few more little trees here. I mean, little more shafts of hair. Maybe a little waterfall. Oh, no, wait. No. All right. Oop, 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 oop. All right, so there we go. That's that one. So many mistakes, I'll have to call him Oopsie. Oopsie and Anthony. But you know, what if WABC was to offer? Oh boy, I really screwed up the Anthony here. Jeez, yeah, that's gonna have to be redone. Well, wait, let me see. All right. Because, geez, that's just not right at all. Damn. this won't be a finished product, but today's show. I mean, I have this cartoon Anthony I did, which is probably the best one I did. And I may have to go back to that and just become the standard Anthony. This one's not too bad. But not great either. Might have to either draw some new Anthony's or I'm trying to remember. I think I got another one elsewhere too. But anyway, I don't know. It just seemed to capture a sort of smirking, smiling, grinning Anthony, you know. That just seemed to capture the essence of Kumia. Yeah, he's starting a new cologne, you know, essence of Kumia. Yeah, that'll be coming soon. This one, like I said, is a little better, but not by much. Wonder if I just copy that one and move it, or here he just looks like he's really nervous, and I don't know, I don't feel good about this. And it's like, what are you talking about? I don't know. Wait a minute, you're not Anthony. See, this is what happens when I babble on about all kinds of dumb stuff. But, I mean, I am live streaming, so it's kind of expected. But it does sacrifice the professional attention given to technique and jigging. So we'll put this there. Boy, I know this isn't going to work. It's not the same thing as doing it with your hand. Yeah. Crap, that ain't gonna work. Yeah. Of course, it doesn't necessarily matter, you understand, because going to color Anthony all in blue because it's just this imaginary phantasm that taunts Opie, which isn't Anthony at all. It's just Opie's interpretation of Anthony. Who has to contend with the reality that his most popular videos that he posts and everything happen to be about you know who. And it's like, damn it. But, you know, what are you going to do? I mean, when he gets mad at Jimmy, I guess those do pretty good too, you know. I don't know. Thing is, though, Jimmy never responds to any of it. So it's kind of like, hey, maybe Anthony should lay off. It wouldn't matter. Yeah. All right, I'll never speak of him again. And then said, so that's it, right? And it's like, no. His head's tilted down. This one's tilted forward. This is, jeez. Yeah, I'll just have to redo that. That's all there is to it. Damn it. I want it to be good. I really want it to be. But it's not. Pam, pam, pam.
Oh, I gotta do this. There, yeah. Jeez. It's a good thing no one noticed that. So we'll move him over. Opie's gonna bring back the bedhead. That's right. What are you talking about? Oops. A comb? A brush? Screw that noise. Damn it. What the hell are you doing? Oh, I remember. Oh, no. You bastard. But yeah. Brush or comb. Nah. That's not how the Obster rolls. Doom, doom. Oh, well. So I'm wondering if this will work. It probably won't. Whoops. Oops, 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 oops. Dun 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 dun. Bam bam bam. Gunsmoke, starring James Arness as Matt Dillon. Okay. Well. Oh wait, is that a bloop? Yep. Bloop, bloop, boop. He's got to have a neck. That's important. All right. Okay. I've already done radio. That'll be the title of this piece. Let's see. There we go. Put that there. Go over here. Do that. Put this here. All right. So I'm going to have to work on the Anthony's. Those drawings won't do. But for the time being, they can remain the placeholders, if you will. Of course, so there you go. Opie finally wins. Of course, I had to use a second drawing, but nevertheless, I had one. Say, it didn't take much to get me in there. But Anthony, oh my God. See? See? Another win for the Opes. Yeah. No matter what, always claim victory. Even while the ship goes down. That's right. Stand tall and proud like a winner. That's what you do.
Okay. Go ahead. Put a little color to the character lines and the nose and all that. A little bit here. It goes down the neck. Right there. Yeah. And there we have the agony of one Greg Opie Heroes. A tragedy of sorts, but somehow a comedy at the same time. It's actually a bit of a remarkable achievement. Yes, 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 quite. Yes. All right. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. Make sure that looks right. I'm probably wrong, as I usually am, but I'll go ahead and take a shot at this. Oh my goodness, I was right. Good Lord. Well, that doesn't happen every day, as I'm sure if you regularly watch these, you are very much aware of the multiple failures on display throughout. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, there's some new stuff. Not really much, but a few little potential tidbits about the Green Lantern show. So I'll probably do a video on that. A few more set photos from the Superman movie. I think that's it. Oh, and some other tidbits, potential, maybe on the positive end. Or James Bond. Seems unlikely considering Amazon now controls Bond. James Bond. And, yeah. Gee, I hope it doesn't turn out as bad as it looks like it's going to. But we are in a new era. Yes. Yes. But, yeah. Anyhow, I'll probably have a video on that. And probably not going to be able to get to any comic books for Wednesday. So I could do it. I didn't realize that the Gotham by Gaslight the Krypton. Damn it. Why am I blanking on that? But I didn't realize that the first part was already concluded with 6 issues. So I think I ordered another copy of the 6 issues. Anyway, maybe I could do an overview of that because they're going to follow it up with like a part D. As for the most part, they've formed their, Elseworld Justice Society in that story. So, there's something. The other thing was to look more into older comics. I was there used to be this backup feature. Well, backup. I mean, it was basically an anthology of Superman family, and primarily was a showcase for Supergirl. But there was one of the other stories was story called Mr. and Mrs. Superman. So this was set in the 50s, and it was the original Superman, having married Lois, and was now the editor in chief of the Daily Star, which was the original paper that Clark and Lois worked at. So that was the setup and the premise, and you know, it was an interesting way to showcase them being married, because originally it was like they were never going to get married, and then of course they did. But you know, that's how they did it back then. And you know, they changed the design of his S to differentiate from the ongoing main Superman and all that. But this was, you know, the Earth 2 Superman, but in a younger time of his life, because when they showed him teaming up with the regular Superman, he had, you know, graying hair and stuff like that. And his Lois was pretty much retired at that point from the news business and all that. So there's quite a few in there that weren't too bad. So I don't know. I was thinking if I could cobble together what I had. I don't have all of that. I could do an overview of the forgotten saga of Mr. and Mrs. Superman. And, you know, do that. Of course, I'm of the opinion it was always a mistake to abandon the Earth 2 template that they had there, because, you know, they never really replaced it with anything else. And then you've got all these titles and characters that only work in their original placement, but you can't use them anymore because you've changed the whole backstory, really. But they never learn, you know. It's unfortunate. Go. And I didn't really get a good look. I don't know if maybe he was clean shaven for this one. So probably just leave it at that. Maybe gray some of this out. Oops. Sorry, oopsie. Why am I oopsie? You're the one making all the mistakes. That's true. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. There he is, upset. What else is new? This one's going to take a little more work. Let's see. Maybe let's see how it looks. Oh wait, what did I do? No. Okay, so bloop, and then bloop here. I don't know. Somehow I messed up his hair too. That ain't right. But I'll make a duplicate. This very simple, basic trick of achieving, you know, a blue tint over the overall image. And there you go. It's ooh, it's the Phantom Anthony. You know, wonder if I do it like that and that away. Don't have to mess with the other. And this, that's just terrible. Oops, what's the problem? Oh, I'm still on the other one. There we go. Oh man, right? You see what he does? He gets right in my face. And duplicate. And blah, 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 blah. There we go. There we have it. And I'll do this. I'll do that. And there we go. Both of there. And, okay. I doubt, very seriously, let me see here. Copy, paste, over here. Well, maybe. Huh. I don't know. Looks really weird and odd. Yeah. It's like, oh, babe, you've got too much earwax. I don't know. Oh, well, you get the idea. It'll look something like that. How about that? How about that? Okay. I'll read some more of the chat and then bid you all sweet adieu until next time. Saint Ranger, Doug's work makes me want to cuss and curse. Good Lord. I swear he's extremely fucking funny. Oh, my goodness. Well, you never know what you can inspire in people. Hey, Thompson, I'm more of a weather band guy. Oh, on radio, yeah. Well, that is important. You never know what's going to come blow your house down. Usually, almost never a wolf. Hey, Thompson, Doug seems like the type of guy to have a Macintosh radio tuner. Wrong again. Hey, Thompson, Doug, can you tune in to WABC where you are? No, but thanks to the wonders of the internet, I can. You see, I downloaded the WABC app. That's 77 WABC app. And you can get that, from Apple or the Google Play Store. And put that on your phone. And there it'll be. And you can look up their shows. And there's Anthony. Provided you can't catch it live, which will stream live on that app. And but if you don't, then you can check the podcast section of the app. And there will be Anthony with all the other shows they have. And there you go. You just play it and you hear the show that Anthony did for WABC. Hey, Thompson, Doug seems like the type of guy to bay. Huh. Hey, Thompson, have a ham call sign and ham station? No, I do not. I did have a CB radio set up a long time ago. I was just a child then, but that was, everybody was doing that in the 70s, I guess. It was kind of a thing for a while. And we had it for communication purposes, doing the farm work and stuff, and stayed with it for a very long time. He even had a CB radio in my car, in my first car, a 79 Thunderbird. It was green. Yeah. But I was a loser, was broke, and it didn't run anymore. So I sold it for drunk. Well, what are you going to do? Saint Ranger, wow, ham. I listened to it for years on SSB radio bands. Oh, wait. First thing he said, I had Radio Shack shortwave police band radios growing up. Now I use digital pocket shortwave. Yeah, police band can give you a lot of stuff. There was this, maybe it's still there. There was a feed where you could listen to the police band of Chicago. Oh man. Probably the same thing, a city under siege. Saint Ranger, we appreciate your chatting with your audience. Well, that's good to know because it's something I do, Hey, Thompson, there must be new tariffs on hair combs over there. Everyone is walking around with bedhead. Is that it? The combs are too expensive? Hey, Thompson, I keep missing what Doug says, running errands. Yeah, well, it happens. St. Ranger, bedhead sounds better than headbed, I think. Well, yeah. I mean, that would seem to I don't know why either one could, but it seems like, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm in bed a lot. Oh. Hey, Thompson, no joke. None of my cars have radio. I took the antennas off years ago, especially the old Mercedes. When that power antenna goes, I just throw them in the trash and body fill the holes. Wow. You're really determined on that. Hey, Thompson, I just use aux. Yeah, that's what I do. I have an MP3 player. I put it in because I still have a CD player in it, but it broke, and I'm not going to bother. It's either the phone or the MP3 player. Got a lot of crap on there. Anyway, hey, Thompson, in my house, I really no longer have any radios. No FM or AM, not even a clock radio. I got a radio somewhere. It's when I went during one of the hurricanes to go digging all that stuff out because there's nothing else, because it's, civilization has been wiped out yet again. It comes back in a month, but still, St. Ranger, I have many radios, but use the internet for music usually, except when listening to my recordings from music/comedy. Yeah. St. Ranger, Universal Imports now fully own 007. Lock, stock, and barrel. Amazon's the only one that has the rights now to make movies. Or apparently they want to make movies and TV shows. They want a Marvel universe of Bond. But that's the situation now. I don't know if you mean like merchandising and stuff, but I think they would run afoul of that too. But I have to look into it because and with Amazon, they always end up spending more money than what it's actually worth. But they were in a heated battle with Barbara Broccoli over that. And finally, they got the right amount of zeros and she gave up. But we'll see. But I mean, look what they did with Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. And Bond's not something that you're just going to put on there and just not pay attention to. Some of the shows they just don't really pay attention to. Those have a shot. But big ones, yeah, they're going to mess with it. Yeah. But again, we're in a new era. So, we'll We'll see what they do. Hey, Thompson, they changed the way Netflix books looks. Can't find the upcoming stuff anymore. Jeez, that's kind of stupid, huh? I mean, I'll get a message from them saying, hey, we've got new crap you might like, and I hardly ever had the time to go through it. But I really haven't paid attention because I usually jump to whatever I want. So I don't know what the front page, if they don't say, hey, look, new stuff. So I don't know. St. Ranger app. Still laughing. Well, yeah, you got to put that emphasis of the on there. Otherwise people won't fully understand the significance and understanding of just how important the app is. Hey, Thompson, Doug CB, call sign Big Meat. Yeah, something like that. St. Ranger CB radio is in the shortwave band. Oh, yeah. Hey, Thompson, the police band of NOLA is probably entertaining. Well, that's true. Damn, why didn't I think of that? I need to check that out. You probably can get it. Yeah. Drawing with Edge. Welcome to the show, Drawing with Edge. Hey, how's it going? Well, we're nearing the end, but I drew this picture of Opie and a ghostly Anthony haunting him because he's obsessed. I'm not happy with the Anthony drawing, so I'm going to redo that, but the Opie drawing will stay put, and I will feature this artwork in a comic book. Cool, huh? St. Ranger, I meant Amazon is the fictional company 007 works for in the story's Universal Exports, meaning Amazon is the Bond Universal Exports. Oh, Universal F. I don't know why I was thinking of the Universal. Hell, Amazon probably does own Universal eventually. Yeah, that was the shell company. So now they just call it he works for Amazon. Drawings with Edge. Do you self-publish? Yes. Basically, Kablam, that Florida outfit that has their own store where they'll print your comics, but they have their own store at their site. So a digital version is available there as well. And you can order on demand the print version of my comics there. And which I have 3 copies of a comic called Night Night, which is based on my audio plays that I feature on my podcast. It's a Batman parody character. There's 1 issue of Sun King, which is the Superman parody, which has a backup story of Bubba Stargone and the Uranus Patrol, which is a sci-fi parody. Parodies are the themes. And hopefully we'll have more. There's one I did for a friend who she said she wanted to be in a comic book, so I did it, and it's called Etc. Woman. So that's there as well. So you simply go to indieplanet.com. That's the store that Kablam operates, and look up Night Night. And that'll lead you to the Doug Nelson comic books. Drawing with Edge. Yes. And yes, it's cool. Oh, thank you. Drawing with Edge. I do like comedy. Well, let's hope I was funny enough. St. Ranger seems to get a kick out of me saying the app. And yes, for Anthony's new radio show, you need only go to the Play Store and look for 77 WABC and download the app. And you too can listen to Anthony's new show, either live Sunday nights or the podcast archived version. And you get the whole deal. It's, it was a good show, so I expect the best. I expect the best out of Mr. Cumier. Drawing with Edge. I will check it out for sure. Okay. Well, the show or my comics? Both? Okay. Anyway. So there we go. Wow. Hour and a half. That's pretty good. So made up for lost time due to a cyber attack on Rumble and my own headache. and caught up on this portrait, yet another one, of Greg Opie Hughes. Yeah, yeah. So, boy, I feel a great sense of accomplishment. Didn't really accomplish anything, but I feel like it did, and that'll be good enough. So, there we go. Say that every time an app enters the conversation. It's sort of like 2020, I'm stuck with it until, 2030, which it's almost there, but 2031, 2032. I don't know if it'll work. I think 2020 and all the other 2020s numbers are what works, because this year is 2025 and it just flows together so well. Yeah, I'm going to miss the 20s, Yeah. Yeah. But what are you going to do? Got to go forward. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening, and we'll do it again hopefully soon, and I'll see you then.
It's Monday. It's Monday. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's Monday. Woo! So sick of this racist crap. This racist crap. This racist crap. I'm happy where I am, where everybody's miserable. I know how to do radio. 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 So sick of this racist crap. This racist crap. This racist crap.